everyone, welcome back to another yoga short. Yay! I'm Dana. If we've never met before, I'm so happy you're here. Today we are going to do a little post-party flow. I don't know about you, but whenever I go out, I definitely dance for like hours, and then afterwards you're sore. And then I wake up the next morning and what do? What we're about to do so that we can feel better and not as sore from doing all the dancing. Coincidentally, today is December 5th, 2021. So if you're watching this in the future, cool. You're getting a little piece of current event or history, especially if you're watching this years from now when COVID is hopefully no longer so prevalent in our lives. But as of Wednesday, there's a no dancing ban in Berlin, which is also where I'm filming this from, which I'm like, have you seen the movie Footloose? Like, I don't know why that's just like closed things. I don't know. Very funny. But so this is also in honor of, this was the last weekend that you could like go out and dance in Berlin. And so people are sore, I'm sure, after last night, since people probably went out for their last hurrah. So we're just gonna get everybody's bodies moving to now get ready to sit at home and not dance outside, which I think is still bizarre. Like if I go dance in the street, what happens? I don't know, but I'm not gonna test it out. So I always have like a bunch of stuff, so you can just grab a blanket and like two block-like things. I think we'll use them. Otherwise, you just need like a soft surface. You don't even need a yoga mat. So we're gonna start in a child's pose. Sorry for the long intro, but history is important. You're gonna find your knees as wide as your mat, big toes touching, and hips come back towards your heels. Then you're just gonna let your belly and torso just drop in between your thighs. Letting everything melt down for a little. After dancing or walking a lot, you might not be in the most comfortable shoes. Your body probably just wants to plop down. This is how we can start doing that. Begin to notice your breath, notice your breathing. Notice where you're breathing. And on your next inhale, you're gonna come up onto your fingertips, look up out in between your hands, and then walk yourself up and over to the right. So you're gonna press your hips back still towards your heels. Your head doesn't have to come down to the floor again, but it can, or you can just let it hang and drop. Just begin to open up the side body. Depending on how you dance, maybe you do some of these type of movements as you dance, I don't know. Take one more cycle of breath. And then walk your hands all the way up and over to the left. And when your hands are on your fingertips, it's like you have a ball, a little tennis ball or an orange underneath your hands, so that you can create more space in your arms, pressing your hips back this time as your right fingertips walk out, up and over. Finding your breath here, breathing deep into the side stretch. Take one more inhale, then one more exhale, and then walk yourself back to center. Let yourself come down for one more beat in your child's pose. And you're gonna press yourself up to come to an all fours position. Bring your knees and legs together, your shins together. Grab for your blocks and just bring them so they're an arm's distance from your arms. And you're gonna tuck your toes under and sit up on your heels. So untuck your pinky toes just to make sure everything's tucked under. This is a really good opener for the bottom of the foot, which is always so tight for me because I feel like I end up just doing like a bunch of step touches, and then your calves and your ankles and your feet get really tight as you're dancing. So yeah, this one is a really good one. If your shoes aren't the most comfortable thing that you're dancing in when you're out, then this is a really good one for you, but you also don't need to dance to do this. You can be walking and this is helpful. So this is helpful for anything. Take one more breath here. As you exhale, you're gonna place your hands down, untuck the toes, try not to like pitter patter, make any movements with them. You're gonna bring your blocks underneath your hands so they're kind of in line with your hips, and then just begin to lift your knees up to open up the fronts of the ankles. So we wanna open up the bottoms, we wanna open up the fronts. I don't know if those needed to be pluralized, but keeping your shoulders down and back, just taking a few little rocks. Feel free to alternate lifting one up and one down. Your heels are staying really close to your butt, so everything's still connected. Take one more rock wherever you are, doesn't matter how high your knees go. Then you're gonna find your blocks back in like the middle area of your mat. Place your hands back down, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and come up into your first down dog. From here, you're just gonna pedal it out. So calves, backs of the legs have done a lot of work. If you've gone out, even just walking to a bar or walking to a dinner, your legs do a lot of work for you. So find those little pedals there to begin to open up the backs of the calves. And then on your next inhale, your knees are gonna stay slightly bent. Your feet are hips width distance. Your arms are wrapping in towards your heart, so the nook of your elbow is trying to face up towards the ceiling. And then you're just gonna step your right foot forward, a footprint. So the whole sole of the right foot's on the ground, both knees are slightly bent, and then bend your knees and stick your butt up to the sky. So just a deeper stretch for the back of the right leg. Pressing down to lift up. You can rock your hips gently from right to left, if that helps. And step your right foot back, and same thing other side. Step your left foot forward, a footprint. Slight bend in the knee still, stick the butt up to the sky. And rock your hips from right to left. You can imagine you're at a party still, but this time doing yoga party. Take one more breath. And then step your left foot back to meet your right. Take one more pedal if you want to. Bend the knees, stick the butt up. And then we'll get right into it. Inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. Place your back knee down, untuck the back toes. Right knee's right on top of right ankle. So you have a good 90-degree angle here. And then just reach your arms forward, out and up. Pressing down to lift up. So as if your feet are pressing down and someone's pulling up your fingertips. Take one more cycle of breath. And then place your fingertips back down. We'll get into this little flow that I really like to do. So as you inhale, you're gonna lift your right toes up. Bring your hips back. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, begin to straighten both legs. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, runner stretch. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale. And if being on fingertips here or the palm of your hands is not working, then feel free to grab the blocks. I honestly love doing this with blocks, even though I like it also touching my hands around the floor, but you just get more space so that your chest can stay long and proud instead of us crunching our spines and making us smaller. We want to be our fullest potential. Doesn't matter how straight or bent the knees are at all. Take one more full round. And then we'll all meet in a low lunge. You're going to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee again, so you're just in your lunge with your back leg up. Left heel is super lifted up to the sky, and then heel toe your right foot to your left hand or the left block. And then from there, pulling the right hip back, you can even use your thumb like I just instinctively did. Begin to straighten the right leg again. And if that balance is super hard, then find your right hand on the block or the floor again. This just gets another part of the hamstring, and you can once again take those sways from right to left. Your right leg does not need to be completely straight at all. Who really cares about straight legs? I don't. bend in the knees is always great. It's gonna be what goes on my tombstone, bend your knees. That and yay, the word yay, I love the word yay. Okay, one more breath here, then back into your right knee. Heel toe your right foot back to its own side. Move the blocks off if you had them. Place your hands down and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. We'll take a little vinyasa flow of your choice. I'm going to do a tuck-toed up dog, but if you want to do a chaturanga, so be it. Go for it. Inhale, bring your body forward and through to a tuck-toed up dog. And then exhale, bend the knees, downward facing dog. Take that 2 more times on your own. Tuck-toed up dog. Downward facing dog. Going as slow or as fast as your breathing is, so there's no rush. And once you finish your third one, stay for a breath in your down dog, pressing down with your hands to lift up. Slight bend in your knees still. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Place your back knee down, untuck the back toes, then reach the arms forward, out and up. Pressing down with the hips, or pressing forward with the hips, pressing down with your front foot and your back foot. So you should be super strong on your back foot that you could, in theory, lift your knee up off the ground and your foot would be enough. But that's also okay if you don't. Fingertips are reaching up as if someone's pulling a string up above you. Chin is level. Exhale, place your hands back down. You know where we're going, so find your bliss if you want to do blocks or not. Then inhale, lift the left toes up, runner stretch. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Begin to straighten both legs. Exhale, low lunge. So really focus on your breath here, letting your breath guide the movement. So if you're still inhaling, still stay in whichever one is inhale. And if you're exhaling, make sure you're there for the whole exhale. So really letting your breath guide your movement, finding that deep connection between your mind, body, and breath. Finding the connection between your mind and body is hard sometimes because our minds are doing 5 trillion things and our body is telling us something and our mind doesn't always listen. But one way to really stay in tune with our body is to bring our breath in there as a guide to really see how our body is feeling. And then your mind will have the truth. Take one more round. And then once you're back in your low lunge, you'll tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, heel toe your left foot over to your right thumb or the block that's there. Press down strongly with the front of the left foot, then begin to pull the left hip back to straighten as much as you can in the left leg. Doesn't matter how straight it is, it could be still kind of bent. You can hook your left thumb in your left leg, your left hip, and then pull that back so your hip stays square. Only go as far with your straight bend or whatever you're doing with your leg, the flexion of the leg, and try to only go as far so that you can still feel your chest or your thigh touching your leg. Then you know you're really in your legs and not like overusing your back. So that's what I always try to think about. One more breath, back heel is super lifted. Exhale, come back to your lunge, heel toe that left foot over to the left thumb and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Taking a flow of your choice, either tuck-toed up dog, chaturanga, or nothing. You can just pedal it out like I'm doing here. Then bend your knees and stick your butt up. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split, bend the knee, open up the hip. Take some circles with your knee and your feet. Great. Inhale, straighten the right leg as much as you can. Exhale, step your right foot to your right pinky finger. Your left toes are facing diagonally out. Back heel is up. We're going to come into a lizard variation. So place the back knee down, untuck the back toes. If you have your blocks, you can once again grab for them and place them underneath your hands, or if you don't have them, that's fine too. Just come up onto fingertips and then take some circles with your hips. Coming back, so when we're out and dancing or partying or whatever you want to call it, we use our legs a lot, so a lot of this is how we can get some of that mobility and stretchingness into our legs after a wonderfully long night of dancing. Take one more breath of movement here for the hips. Bring your hips forward. And then for a little bit of a pause, you can either stay here in this pigeon with your hands underneath your shoulders, or you can come down onto your forearms either on the ground or the blocks. Just do whatever still keeps your back super long. So after a really long night of dancing too, we probably used our back and our abs in ways that we didn't even realize just by like dancing around. So we don't want to add more strain or stress to our backs. So really keep them nice and long. Take one more breath. And then walk your hands back up. And then we're going to do whatever awkward or non-awkward way that you can do. We're just going to bring our right knee to come to pigeon. So your right knee kind of replaces where your right foot was. I just dragged it in and now my foot's on this angle. Then I'm going to set myself back. I always want to have a blanket for my pigeon, so I'm just going to grab the one that I have. If you don't, it's okay. But if you have one nearby, grab it. And then because we have the blocks here, we'll just take a kind of short pigeon, but let's just set ourselves up. I'm going to place one on the lowest height in the same line as my shin, and then the other on the lowest height this way. And then I'm going to walk myself forward. But if the blocks are too low or too high, you can always switch the height of the blocks. The more important thing here too is, I think, the blanket under the hips, so that your hips can actually release and take a moment. Take 3 or 4 more breaths here, really finding the breath being guided to your low belly, so you can inhale up the full chest cavity of your front body. After you've taken your 4th breath, you'll gently walk your hands back up. Yay. Place the blocks off to the side, place the blanket off to the side, and just gently come back to your downward facing dog. Taking your time, taking a vinyasa if you want to, either to chaturanga or top-toed up dog. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split, bend the knee, open up the hip. Take some circles with your ankle and your foot, just wiggling it around. Head can be completely relaxed here. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, step it on the outside of your left pinky on that 45-degree angle, so your toes are kind of on the ground. Place your back knee down, untuck the back toes. And same thing on this side. If you grab blocks on the other side, use it on this side for a sense of symmetry and balance, and then take circles in all different directions on this side to get into the left hip a little bit. And the blocks might have to be higher on this side if your left hip is tighter, or vice versa. Maybe your right hip is tighter. But you can take any wiggles or circles that feel good. You can lift the left toes up as you come back. Whatever floats your boat. Take one more breath of circling. And then we'll come to our little pause in our lizard. So you can keep your hands underneath your shoulders and be very regal and look out in front of you. Or you can come onto your forearms. Back is still super long. Left knee is still tracking over the left toes, so don't lose that. You can try to hug your left knee in towards your left shoulder so that it stays aligned. Back is still super long. One more breath. And then walk your hands back up. Same thing on this side. We're just going to come into our pigeon. So you can drag your left foot back. I don't know what that was. You can grab for your blanket underneath your hips and set yourself up in a very similar way that you did on the other side. So if you use the blocks like I described, Go for that again. If you did something different, do it again. You can be very creative. And just let your hips melt into the blanket or whatever surface they're pressing on. It can be anything. Elbows can come wide to create a diamond shape so that your shoulders can really relax here. And if your forehead's resting on anything, you can rock it from right to left to get a little massage on your forehead. Taking deep inhales and exhales. Take 2 more breaths. Really letting your hips just sink down. Following the breath, fill up your lungs. And as you exhale, begin to walk your hands back up. Bring the blocks off to the side. Come back to your last down dog. Take anything here that feels like a good little bit of movement. Bend the knees, stick the butt up. Then place your knees back down on the ground and come to lie on your back. So we always love a good moment of rest. Sometimes on the dance floor, I'd love to just lie down for a minute, but I've never been on a clean dance floor that I felt like I should lie down, so we can do it here. And as you lie here, we're just coming straight into our Shavasana. If there's any fidgets or wiggles or anything you need to get out to be able to rest here quietly, feel free to do that. But you can let your arms rest on your belly or down by your sides and just find your breath again. Deepening the inhales and exhales. Maybe you imagine your ideal party, or where you want to go when things are reopen and dancing is allowed. I have a place in mind. My favorite club in Berlin is called Schwutz, and it's so fun to dance there, but then I definitely need to do this class after every time. And I'll just leave you here, so just keep breathing. Take at least 20 more breaths, really deepening into your low belly to fill up your whole front and back body. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all back here soon.